Discover 12 sinister haunted locations in America that come alive with terror on Halloween night. As dusk fell over the quiet suburban neighborhood, the air thickened with the promise of supernatural dread. Sarah felt it, an unsettling tingle creeping up her spine as Mia and Jake eagerly bounced around the living room, a swirl of restless energy and childlike wonder. The rumor mill had spun tales about haunted playgrounds and abandoned asylums lurking just beyond their backyards, claiming the laughter of the past had twisted into something darker. Halloween was near, and they wanted a night of adventure. A sinister thrill permeated the atmosphere, vibrating with every heartbeat. At first, Sarah thought it would be harmless fun. After all, what could be wrong with ghost stories and a little exploration? So she hesitantly agreed, trying to push back feelings of panic that chased after her like dark shadows. They loaded into the car, and as they drove toward their first stop, the sky darkened ominously, casting eerie shadows that danced off the pavement, a vivid backdrop for the haunting tales swirling in her mind. They pulled into the parking lot of an old playground, long forsaken and consumed by rust. The swings creaked in the cool night breeze, an unsettling symphony that echoed the laughter of children who once played there. Mia and Jake launched into playful ghost stories, their laughter mingling with the chilling air. But something shifted. An inexplicable tension wrapped around Sarah's heart. It was then they encountered Mr. Jenkins, the friendly neighbor whose smile now felt like a mask. He stepped from the shadows, his gaze too intense, his tone dripping with eeriness. "You kids are brave, or foolish," he chuckled, flicking out tales of misplaced souls. It sent ice through Sarah's veins. They laughed it off, dismissing his words, but Sarah couldn't shake that itch of fear blooming deeper. The night pushed forward, urging them to the next destination, a grim asylum rumored to have long housed tortured spirits. When they arrived, their excitement spiraled into the abyss of dread. Darkness seemed to pour from the building, curling like smoke, while frayed memories wafted in like a gentle whisper clinging to the air. Windows, darkened and shattered, loomed like vacant eyes watching their every move. Suddenly, Sarah's phone vibrated violently against her thigh. "I can see you." An icy grip clutched her heart. Gripping the phone tightly, her blood ran cold. She glanced at her children, still lost in fantasy, oblivious to danger lurking in the shadows. "Mia, Jake, stay close," she stammered, her voice a harsh whisper. The silence thickened, wrapping tightly around them like a heavy shroud. Before she could gather her scattered thoughts, Mia and Jake dashed down a dusty hall, drawn toward whispers that pulled them deeper into the asylum's depths. Panic surged through Sarah. With every step she took deeper into that vile place, she could feel the hairs on the back of her neck stand on end, the air feeling electric with anticipation, not of fun, but of fear. The familiar figure of Mr. Jenkins reemerged, his smile stretching wider, more sinister, like he reveled in her chaos. The clock ticked closer to midnight, each chime echoing like a death knell. Shadows tugged at her children, whispering, beckoning them into the heart of darkness from where none returned. "Welcome home." A ghostly echo filled her ears. Deep dread coiled around her. She had to act fast, the suffocating weight of fear closing around her. Before we continue, I need to tell you something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to their system, and many people are missing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and select all notifications so you don't miss future videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now, let's continue. Sarah's heart raced and her breath hitched as she lunged toward the fading silhouettes of her children. The whispers grew louder, taunting her, thickening the air with a tangible fear that made her skin crawl. "Mia, Jake," she screamed, its echo lost in the darkness. Was this a judgment of fate? Her instincts screamed that they were not alone, that Mr. Jenkins was not just a neighbor, but something more sinister. And as the spirits closed in, ravenous for souls lost and families torn apart, she begged for survival, love, and strength, not just to keep her children safe, but to escape that forsaken hell forever. The clock struck closer to midnight, the air crackling with malevolence, thrusting Sarah into a night that would define the boundaries between terror and salvation. Would she save her family from the dark embrace, or would Halloween claim them as its own? Chilled winds howled through the cracked windows of the asylum, echoing like a haunting symphony. Each footfall Sarah took was swallowed by the carpet of dust that had settled in the entryway, her heart pounding in her chest. The voices faded momentarily, then surged back, threatening to drown her in their eerie allure. She dashed forward, desperate to reach Mia and Jake, but the shadows twisted around her, hungry and stretching, as if alive. "Mia! Jake!" Her voice splintered against the walls. Silence answered, deep and foreboding, wrapping around her like chains. The hallways twisted and turned, a disorienting maze that felt like a trap. With every direction she took, unease gnawed at her gut. Where were her children? The darkness seemed to pulse, as if breathing, a malignant force watching her every move. Suddenly, a faint giggle echoed through the hall. It rang with a chilling sweetness. "Mia?" Sarah called, hope tinged with dread. It was then she spotted a flicker of light from a door slightly ajar. She rushed toward it, her instincts screaming this might be the key to finding them. Pushing open the door, a cold wave washed over her, forcing her to step back momentarily. A dimly lit room filled with remnants of the past lay before her. Rusted bed frames and chairs, each bearing memories of despair and agony. Shadows flitted in the corners of her vision, teasing her confidence. "Mia! Jake!" she yelled again, her voice shaking. Each syllable felt futile against the oppressive darkness. Suddenly, she glimpsed them, a mere outline at the far end of the room, their backs turned towards her. Relief swept through her, her heart racing as she called for them one more time. "Kids, come here!" But they did not respond. Instead, the air thickened, charged with static as that unholy giggle erupted again, this time louder and more mocking. Frantic, Sarah moved closer, and as the distance closed, dread crept back into her veins. With each step, the shadows thickened, an unholy congregation gathering, urging her to stop. "Mia! Jake!" Panic rose, wrapping its cold fingers around her throat. Their heads turned in unison, but not to her. They appeared mesmerized, staring at something in the darkness beyond the room illuminated by a single flickering bulb. The sweet, alluring voice called again, echoing from a shadow, "Come play with us." At that moment, Sarah felt as if the world had tilted. The very air crackled with danger. The flickering bulb cast unsettling silhouettes against the wall. Each shadow stretched and twisted, gloating in the depths of night. "Mia! Jake! Don't listen!" she shouted, desperation clawing at her voice. The voices of the lost souls wailed from the shadows, now a cacophony of despair and longing seeping into her soul. "Turn back!" But it was too late. The children took a step forward, willingly sliding into the unseen embrace beyond. It was a tragic ballet choreographed by darkness, and Sarah could only stand frozen, as if the very ground beneath her had conspired to keep her in place. And then, just as Sarah's instincts kicked in, a cold finger grazed her neck. Panic surged violently through her, and she whirled around, her breath catching in her throat. The sight paralyzed her. Mr. Jenkins hovered behind her, his presence more potent than before, his smile twisted into something grotesque. "They belong with the others now, dear." A scream clawed up Sarah's throat, but before she could unleash it, more shadows emerged, encircling her in a suffocating embrace. She felt them, clawing, licking at the edges of her mind, pulling her into the abyss. With one last push of strength, she tore herself away and bolted back into the hall, footsteps pounding like a race against time. The echoes followed, sinister and relentless. The clock was still ticking. Midnight loomed. Would she reclaim her children before the darkness closed in, or would Halloween transform into the final act in their tragic tale? The walls began to close in, shadows whispering promises of despair. It was a race for survival, and each heartbeat thudded louder as she frantically searched for escape. But as she turned a corner, she stumbled upon a chilling sight. The path ahead fractured, each doorway leading into deeper darkness. What lay behind each door? Could she trust her instincts now? With the scream of a child piercing the air, she plunged into the unknown, aware that every second counted. Would either salvation or monstrous fate greet her? Time was almost up, and the night was far from over. The hall twisted and turned in a cruel mockery of a maze. Panic surged through Sarah as she stumbled from one dark void to another, her heart hammering against her ribs, suffocating her with dread. Each door loomed like a sentinel of despair, and she pressed her palms against the cold, damp walls for support. The scream of her child echoed hauntingly again, a piercing cry that split open the void of silence. "Mia!" she shouted, desperation coating her words as she darted toward the nearest doorway. The air thickened, swirling with a nauseating chill. As she entered an adjacent room, the flickering bulbs suffocated the corners in shadow, revealing a disarray of shattered glass and tattered remnants of sanity. An old mirror stood leaning against the wall, its surface marred by grime, but somehow reflecting the dim light. Sarah caught a glimpse of herself, a specter of fear, her eyes wide, skin pale, lips parted as if she could form her children's names into prayers. Behind her, laughter rang out, the mocking giggle of Mia. Sarah spun around, heart racing. "Mia, is that you?" The voice echoed again, closer this time, but the tone morphed into something twisted. "Come play with us, Mama." Fear linked its fingers tightly around Sarah's throat. Who was really calling her? Desperately, she turned back to the mirror, its surface vibrating with a sinister energy. The reflection showed her children, but behind them stood a dark silhouette, Mr. Jenkins, his smile grotesquely wide, as if savoring her torment. She swallowed hard, forcing herself to look away before the shadows could drag her in. In a sudden burst of instinct, Sarah fled the room, her feet pounding against the floor, coursing with primal urgency. Each door she passed seemed to reach for her. She chose the next one, hoping it wasn't another trap. Beyond was a long, claustrophobic corridor, walls pulsing as if the asylum itself was alive, breath trapped within decay. The laughter echoed again, maddeningly sweet, and an air of anticipation stretched thick, suffocating her resolve. A faint glow blinked at the end of the corridor, a promise of escape or another dark void. "Mia, Jake," she shouted, voice cracking under strain. "I'm coming." As she approached the glow, shadows swirled like mist, clinging to the edges of her vision. She could almost hear whispers, secrets shared between the lost souls that trapped her here. They beckoned, seductive in their despair. "Stay with us. Join the game." Clenching her fists, Sarah pressed onward. She was close. She could feel it, like an electric surge coursing through her body. Suddenly, the ground trembled, a violent shudder rattling the walls. From the shadows, Jake emerged, eyes wide, face pale. But he was not alone. A shadowy figure stood behind him, pulling at his arm, twisted fingers stretching towards Sarah. "No, let him go!" she screamed, rushing forward. But another darkness surged past her, cold and suffocating. In that moment, Jake's eyes filled with confusion, and he gazed past her shoulder. "Mom, help!" he pleaded, but the darkness gripped him tighter. Time fractured again. Panic closed in as Sarah felt herself being pulled into the chilling twilight of those trapped between worlds. She swayed on the precipice of despair, voices gnawing at her mind, familiar yet terrifying. "Mama, this way!" Mia's voice rang clear, cutting through the cacophony. Sarah's heart leapt, but before she could clench on to hope, the shadows darkened, slinking closer, waiting to claim her as their own. With fear clawing at her, she threw her body forward, colliding with Jake in the depths of darkness. Would they find their way out together, or would the asylum consume them whole, joining its endless harvest of lost souls? The shadows churned, swirling around them like a storm, and just as Sarah clung to Jake's hand, she noticed an object stuck in the damp wood of the floor. A small toy, a reminder of happier times. Hope flickered, but outside, midnight finally struck. How long until the asylum demanded its due? Would the price of escape be too steep? Sarah felt the wall pulse against her back as shadows whispered promises of despair. The shadows hissed, a chorus of resentful whispers curling like smoke around her. Sarah squeezed Jake's hand tighter, her palm clammy against his. Their eyes locked, a fragile thread of understanding passing between them, holding promise against the growing darkness. "Where is Mia?" Sarah shouted, panic clawing at her throat. The question echoed, swallowed by the gloom like a plea to the abyss. "I don't know," Jake shouted back, his voice quivering. "They took her." The realization hit Sarah with the weight of a leaden fist. They were not simply hiding. Something was tormenting them. A presence lurking, waiting for her to break. Shadows flickered in the corner of her vision, dark tendrils reaching out like fingers of smoke. "Mama, play with us." The voice slithered into her ears, sweet yet sinister, igniting a fresh surge of terror through her veins. It was unmistakably Mia, echoing from a distance, pulling Sarah deeper into the heart of despair. "No, I won't leave you, Mia." The words tumbled from her lips, desperate and defiant. She tugged at Jake, which seemed futile against the growing weight of despair swirling in the air. But then, the darkness shifted, revealing a door, a weathered wooden entry, barely visible through the miasma. Jason's face brightened, a ghost of hope ushering him forward. "Maybe she's in there," he urged, rushing toward it. Sarah hesitated, but followed, the urge to protect her children overpowering the instinct to flee. As they crossed the threshold, the air inside felt sharper, colder, as if they had stepped into another realm. The room was barren, save for a rusted rocking chair in the center. It creaked eerily, swaying, though there was no breeze. "Mia!" Sarah called again, her voice a desperate knife aimed at the deafening silence. In response, the floorboards squeaked ominously beneath them, echoing her dread. Shadows twisted at the edges of her vision, but now they felt different, alive and hungry. And then, through the dim light, Sarah saw it, the small toy, a faded stuffed rabbit, lying atop a tattered blanket in the corner. Panic surged anew. Mia had loved that rabbit once. "That's Mia's," Jake gasped, the color draining from his face. As they approached the toy, a cold wave washed over Sarah. The air turned dense, weighty, and the world around her seemed to bend. She bent down, reaching for it with a trembling hand. But as her fingers brushed the fabric, a cold shriek echoed through the room, a banshee wail of despair that rattled her bones. The rocking chair stopped its swaying, and the shadows grew thick, coiling like serpents around the children. The laughter came again, now a shrill chorus, mocking them, echoing off the walls. "Come play with us." With a sudden violent pull, the door slammed shut behind them, locking them in. Darkness thickened, swirling into shapes that pressed against their skin, slick and cold. "Mom!" Jake cried as he stumbled back, eyes wide with terror. At that moment, Sarah felt it, an urgency, the sensation of time slipping through her fingers like sand. "We need to find her," she yelled, drawing courage from every ounce of love she had for her children. But as she turned back to the toy, she saw something move, a flicker of white, as if Mia herself hovered at the edge, calling to them, "Mama, now!" And with those words, a shadow lunged, hunger in its grip, hunger in its grip. Sarah's heart raced. She couldn't lose them. Not now, not ever. But the shadows tightened around them like a vice. Would they escape this malevolent grasp and find Mia? As she clutched Jake's hand tighter, she felt the pull of the darkness, a wretched urge luring them deeper. The asylum had decided it was time to play. Would they find freedom or become trapped in this web of night? A choice loomed ahead, and every heartbeat echoed a promise of terror yet to unfold. The instant Sarah screamed, silence swallowed the room whole. It was stark, thick as molasses, pressing in on them. She felt the shadows twist closer, a suffocating presence that made her skin tingle with dread. Goosebumps raced down her arms, and her heart hammered like a war drum in her chest. "Mom, we can't stay here," Jake whispered, his voice trembling, barely a thread above the oppressive quiet. "No, we have to get Mia," she snapped back, the urgency now bubbling over. A boiling pot ready to spill. The flickering darkness pulsated like a living thing, ready to consume them. Just then, the shadows shifted. They coiled, compressing into a new form. Sarah peered into the dark, her breath hitching. An echoing laugh broke through the silence, childish, gleeful, but laced with something more malicious. "Come play with us," they sang. Eyes wide, Jake grabbed Sarah's hand tightly, fear evident in every line of his face. "What do they want?" Before she could answer, a sharp sound sliced through the air, the grinding of metal. From the corner of her eye, Sarah caught a flash, a rusty latch, worn and hateful, creaking open as though it had been waiting for just this moment. The door they'd come through was cracked, revealing a sliver of deeper darkness outside. "Mia!" she shouted into the void, her voice barely masking her panic. It felt like a plea echoing into an abyss with no response. "Mom, what if it's a trap?" Jake's voice quivered, the boy's innocence now robbed by terror. But the flicker of hope surged in Sarah's chest, the urge to protect pushing her forward. "We can't think like that," she urged, forcing a brave face, even as fear gnawed at her gut. Gripping Jake's hand, Sarah stepped cautiously toward the door, the shadows swirling behind them like a frenzied storm. She could hear faint whispers, a symphony of lost souls that lure her deeper. They want us to stay." "No, we're leaving," she barked, her defiance a shield against the growing dread. As they moved toward the light, another eerie cry erupted from behind them. The rocking chair began to rock violently, creaking as if some unseen force embraced it, a mocking laughter spilling from the darkness. "Help us!" The voice was Mia's, lilting but drenched in a cold despair. Sarah's heart twisted painfully. "Just a little closer," she urged Jake, who stumbled beside her. The shadows hissed, clawing at them, angry for the defiance. With a final surge of desperation, Sarah pulled the door wider, praying they could escape the clutches of those lost spirits. The shadows recoiled, a blinding rage swirling to reclaim their prey. She felt the pull, as if something sought to break the bond between her and Jake. "No, I won't let you take him," she shouted, feeling strength rise from her love. She pressed through the threshold, dragging Jake behind her. The door seemed to scream in protest. As the light enveloped them, a sudden silence engulfed the room they had just fled. But the darkness was far from gone. From the corner of her vision, Sarah spotted the flicker again, the elusive white shape, darting in and out of view. Mia! But was she real? "Mama!" The voice echoed clearer now, frantic and desperate. Follow me, Sarah urged, adrenaline surging as they stumbled out into the hallway. But in the distance, a cold, mocking laugh rang out. You can't escape the game. A chill wrapped around her heart. Every instinct screamed that time was slipping through their fingers faster than she'd believed. With every step they took, the walls of the asylum seemed to shift, closing in, directing them backwards into a void of unending night. Would they reach Mia in time, or would she become another whisper in the darkness? Each heartbeat echoed louder, as if time itself was running out. They rushed through the hallway, every step echoing their frantic hearts. Sarah felt the walls creeping in, the wallpaper peeling like old skin, dark stains oozing through the cracks. The very air felt stale and heavy, each breath a struggle against the oppressive weight of dread wrapping around them. Mama! Mia's voice broke through the thick silence once more, softer now but filled with raw urgency that sent shivers down Sarah's spine. She spun to face the direction of her daughter's call, hoping against hope that this was leading them somewhere, anywhere, other than deeper into the dark. Hold on, Mia, we're coming, she yelled, desperately listening for any sign of her. Each vow to save her daughter weighed heavily on her heart, like an anchor dragging her into the depths of despair. Jake tugged at her arm, his eyes wide with terror. Mom, that laughter, it's right behind us. She turned back just in time to see shadows surge toward them, curling and twisting like vipers ready to strike. With a primal instinct, she yanked Jake forward, pushing down fear and channeling it into sheer determination. Run! They darted down the hallway, a winding maze of remnants from the asylum's nefarious past. The walls felt alive, almost breathing, pulsing with energy as whispers flitted through the air like moths drawn to a flame. Stay with us, they taunted, echoing the laugh that had haunted her since they first entered. Mia! Sarah shouted again, her voice shaky yet fierce, as if each syllable was infused with the fire of a mother's love. Where are you? They turned a corner, and a flicker of light caught Sarah's eye. It was an old lantern, its flame wavering, casting distorted shadows that danced against the walls. Hope surged through her again, a fragile beam in the ever-looming darkness. Over there, she pointed at the light, urgency flooding her. But as they neared the lantern, another icy breeze swept through the corridor, snuffing out the flame in an instant. The shadows shrieked, a cacophony of rage that sent a jolt of fear spiraling through her body. Sarah gasped. Go back, she yelled, but they were already caught in a snare of darkness that seemed alive. The whispers turned into howls, a tempest of tortured souls, hungry and relentless. Mom, I can't, Jake choked out, his little voice cracking under the weight of the darkness that pressed against them like a tangible force. The walls seemed to curdle with malice, shifting and swirling, blocking any path backward. Sarah could feel the panic rising in her throat, a thick lump that threatened to choke her. We need to find a way through. Suddenly, the laughter returned, lower now, more sinister, slithering around their ears like oily smoke. You won't find her. We've already taken her. No, Sarah screamed, her voice ripping through the night. I won't let you take her. With newfound fury, she charged ahead, and just then, a door materialized to her right, half hidden in the gloom, faintly glowing as if beckoning. Jake, over here, she shouted. They sprinted toward the door, slamming it open with a ferocity born of desperation. The room beyond was dim, filled with cobwebs that draped like veils. Shadows flitted within, whispering secrets, old and dark. Mia, she called again, stepping over the threshold. The door banged shut behind them with a heavy thud, sealing them in a silence that was almost palatable. Then, from the shadows, a small figure emerged, pale and trembling, her breath visible in the freezing air. It was Mia. But as she staggered toward them, her eyes were filled with a darkness that made Sarah's blood run cold. Mama! Was it truly her daughter? As Sarah knelt down, reaching out, the air grew thick with danger. A malicious voice echoed around them. You played our game, and now you belong to us. The walls trembled ominously, tightening their grip around them. Were they truly saved, or had they just stepped further into the malice that haunted the asylum? Each moment stretched, thundering with uncertainty. In the depths of that darkness, the true horror loomed, ready to become real. Mama? Mia's voice was thin, almost alien, sending tremors of doubt through Sarah's heart. The child she cradled in her dreams seemed lost, swallowed by an insatiable darkness. Mia, sweetheart, come here. Sarah's outstretched hands trembled as she stepped closer, but the shadows writhed around Mia, pulling her back like an unseen force. Jake, still clinging to Sarah's side, whimpered, his small body shivering with fear. Mom, I don't like this. Something's wrong. The thrill of fear coursed through Sarah like icy water, and she fought against the urge to retreat. Mia, look at me. It's Mama, please. But Mia didn't respond. Instead, a slow smile spread across her face, and in that moment, it was nothing like her daughter's innocent grin. It twisted, malevolent, teeth shark-like and glinting in the dim light. Help us, the shadows whispered as they shifted around them, forming grotesque shapes that hovered in the corners of the room. Join us. No, stop it! Sarah lunged toward Mia, but the child suddenly crumpled to the floor as though yanked down by choking vines. Panic thundered in Sarah's chest. Jake, stay close! She sprinted forward, and the room twisted around her, a nightmarish kaleidoscope of dank walls creeping in. The darkness felt like fingers brushing against her skin, chill and sticky, clinging to her like a grotesque shroud. Mama? Mia's voice echoed, wispy and far away, layered with something ancient and cruel. Why are you saying that? Sarah whimpered, holding Jake tightly. This isn't you! With a surge of adrenaline, she scooped Mia into her arms, but the girl felt oddly weightless, cold as ice. Mia, Jake cried, eyes filled with tears. I want to go home. The air grew thick, suffocating, and the room began to pulse with an insidious rhythm, as though it was alive and watching. Vague shapes writhed at the edges of her vision, and Sarah felt dread clawing its way into her mind. What do we do? Jake's voice quivered, breaking the suffocating silence, and Sarah clutched him tighter. The presence of malicious eyes bore down on them. We have to leave, now! She turned, searching for the door, but the way had vanished into darkness, like a mirage evaporating at dusk. Then came the laughter again, and it wasn't just from the shadows. Sarah could hear it in her skull, echoing, taunting. No escape. She's with us now. Get away from her, Sarah screamed, clutching Mia closer, but cold fingers wrapped around her wrist, digging in painfully. The girl's eyes widened, revealing depths of sorrow and rage as they shined with that unearthly light. You could have been free, Mama. You chose this. No, I will save you. I'm not losing you to this nightmare. A piercing scream erupted from her throat as the darkness surged forward, clawing at her sanity. The walls closed in, shadows leaping like angry spirits, threatening to engulf them whole. Would they be consumed here? Would they become another layer of history in the asylum's sinister tale? Suddenly, there was a flash, a flicker like a dying star pierces through the oppressive gloom, revealing a strange symbol etched into the wall. It pulsed like a heartbeat. What is that? Jake whispered, his eyes drawn to the light, momentarily forgetting the horror that surrounded them. "Come on," Sarah shouted, her voice glassy with desperation. "We need to reach it." As they dashed toward the flicker, the shadows clawed at their backs, a furious storm of darkness raging behind them. The laughter was relentless now, urgent, almost angry. "You can't escape! You can't escape!" And then the light dimmed again, flickering as though it were a heartbeat teetering on the edge of life and death. "Mama, help!" Mia's voice, fragile and desperate, pierced the frosty air. With a final surge of instinct, they lunged for the swirling, pulsating symbol. Would it lead to salvation or trap them forever? As Sarah closed her eyes, prepared to meet whatever fate awaited, she whispered, "We have to believe." Then, in that moment of uncertainty, the world around them fractured, and they were thrust into an abyss of swirling terror. Where would they land? What awaited them on the other side of darkness? The moment they broke through the veil of darkness, it felt as if they were being expelled from the belly of some ancient beast. Sarah landed on hard, cold ground, gasping for air as though awakening from a nightmare. She blinked against the haze, struggling to make sense of her surroundings. Bright, blinding light surrounded them, casting long shadows across the cracked tiles beneath. It was a stark contrast to the oppressive darkness they had fled, yet that brightness felt wrong, too thin, too harsh. "Mama?" Mia's voice came from the flickering light next to Sarah, and she turned to her daughter. The girl was upright, staring, still vacant-eyed, as though she knew something Sarah did not. "Mia!" Sarah rushed to her side, but the space around them warped subtly, as if reality were thin and could snap at any moment. Jake clung tightly to Sarah's leg, trembling against her, confusion evident in his wide eyes. "Where are we?" "I don't know. It doesn't feel right," she said, scanning their surroundings. The walls pulsed rhythmically, a heartbeat echoing in the distance of the vast chamber. Glancing quickly at the floor, she noticed symbols etched into the tiles, swirling and intertwining like serpents in a deadly dance. "Mama, look!" Jake gasped, pointing toward a shattered window at the far end. Beyond the broken glass, a landscape of twisted trees loomed under an unearthly sky. Shades of sickening green and gray rumbling overhead. Lightning crackled, but it didn't illuminate. Rather, it swallowed the light, drawing it into an abyss. Just then, a rush of chilling air swept through the chamber, sweeping shadows deeper into corners, and Sarah felt the presence of something watching. "We have to go back. We need to find a way out." As if mocking her urgency, the shadows coalesced into forms, trembling figures with eyes like black holes. Their hollow expressions twisted in silent wails, mouths open in contorted shapes as if trying to scream, but there was no sound. "No!" she shouted desperately. "You won't take my children?" Mia stepped forward, a strange glow suddenly re-emerging in her eyes. "Join us," she whispered, her voice layered now, fused with the faint echoes of the shadowy figures. The air stilled, drenched in the intensity of her words. "Stop it!" Sarah shouted, stepping further in front of Jake, shielding him. "You're not Mia! You don't belong to them!" With each defiant word, the figures became more frantic, their movements growing erratic, as if agitated by her refusal. One of them lunged, arms unnaturally long, reaching toward Jake. Sarah instinctively pulled him back, pressing her body against his, heart racing. The shadows screamed silently, a torrent of rage that made the air electric, sharp with terror. "Run!" Sarah cried, grabbing Mia's cold hand, turning to flee towards the window. But the shadows swelled around them like a tidal wave, blocking every path. Every instinct screamed at her to dive into the depths of the oncoming darkness. Yet another part clung to hope, to her children. "Mama, I can see it," Mia explained, her voice suddenly crystal clear, breaking through the gloom. "It's there." She pointed toward the farthest corner, where a glowing door flickered like a flame in a storm. "Get to it!" Sarah screamed. And They bolted. Shadows lashed out, dancing around them, clinging to their limbs like desperate hands. Sarah's heart pounded as she darted forward, panic gripping her throat. They were almost there, just a few more steps, but the shadows were voracious now, crawling up her legs, drawing her down. "No!" she wailed, ripping free, casting aside everything but the determination to reach that light. With a final push, they broke free, bursting through the door just as the shadows lashed out one last time. And then, darkness surrounded them again, but this time it felt different, alive with whispers, promises, and secrets entwined in the very fabric of fear itself. The light behind them faded, leaving them in a whirlwind of sensations, sounds of splashing water, whispers of the damned, and a feeling of being utterly lost. What had they entered? What lurked in the shadows waiting for them? "A new beginning," Mia murmured, looking up at Sarah with an unplaceable expression, drawing closer to the beckoning darkness that lay just beyond their sight. Could they confront whatever awaited, or had they stepped from one nightmare into another? Sarah's breath came in harsh gasps as she took in their new surroundings. The sensation of being submerged under cold water suffocated her as she fought to comprehend the swirling chaos around them. Whispers floated in the shadows like smoke, curling around her head, teasing her sanity. "Stay close," she commanded, pulling both children tighter to her side, adrenaline sharp in her veins. The air grew heavier, thick with dread, a sense of being watched pressing in from all directions. The chamber expanded, but felt like it was closing in on them, curling like a predator's jaws. The sound of splashing water echoed ominously, and Sarah glanced nervously at her children. They seemed so small, so fragile against the ferocity of this world. "Mama, I hear them," Jake whined, his voice cracking. "They want us." "Shh, don't listen," she hissed, brushing a trembling hand through Jake's hair. It felt impossibly wet. She didn't dare look down. "We need to find a way out. Keep your eyes on me." Mia stepped away from her grasp, entranced by the dark waters that surged before them, shimmering with a grotesque luminescence. "It's beautiful," she murmured, her voice lilting and distant, as if something sinister held her captive. "It's calling to me." "Don't!" Sarah shouted, her pulse racing as she lunged forward to grab Mia's wrist. But the moment her skin touched her daughter's, a jolt of ice seared through her, making her recoil. "Mia!" The little girl's eyes had shifted, now reflecting the ghastly waters, swirling with colors she shouldn't know. "I want to go. I want to see." Her voice echoed with an echo that twisted Sarah's insides. "No, you can't!" Panic surged through Sarah. She tugged harder, but Mia remained a stone, as if rooted to the very ground beneath her. Then they came. Shadowy shapes began to rise from the waters, slowly unfurling. Like massive blooms of terror, faces twisted in eternal anguish loomed from the depths, pulling themselves free of the dark. Some reached out with long fingers, phantasmal, dripping wet, a ghastly parody of humanity that seemed determined to drag Mia down. "Mama, help!" Mia's once clear plea turned into a croak, drowning in the cries swirling all around them. Every instinct screamed at Sarah to run, to flee and protect her boy, but Mia was slipping away. With a primal roar, Sarah surged forward, wrapping both arms around Mia and pulling her back, wrenching her away from the waters as the shadows clawed. "Mama, I want the water!" Mia cried, an unnatural longing etched into her tone. "Mia, no!" With a surge of desperation, Sarah threw her weight into yanking her daughter back, adrenaline flooding her system. Then there was silence. The shadows recoiled, but not before a small splash erupted at their feet. A hand, human-like yet grotesque, broke the surface of the water, reaching. The air screamed with 1,000 voices, drowning her mind in chaos. They stumbled back, Sarah's heart pounding as they neared the far side of the strange chamber. "Jake, where do we go?" She felt his small hand slip from hers as he stood frozen in fear, eyes locked on the water. "Run!" Jake shouted, but his voice cracked, panic seeping into the edges. But as they backed away, their only path of escape flickered, a new, shimmering light behind the darkening veil. The whispers turned into a bitter cacophony, pleading, laughing, urging them back into that hell. "Over there!" Sarah shouted, but the sight of the glowing light started to fade, like a mirage. She felt the intense pressure of the shadows swelling, the figures readying themselves to advance again. "Mia!" she screamed as she saw her daughter drifting away toward the waters, entranced. "Mama! No!" Sarah lunged forward again, but it was as if the air itself turned against her, thick and suffocating. And then the shadows surged one last time, their collective howl filling the air, drowning Sarah's cries and overwhelming darkness. The last vestige of light flickered, threatening to extinguish. What would they all become if they surrendered to this abyss? Would they join the cacophony or find a way to break free? A mere whisper slipped through the chaos, taunting her. All who enter belong. As darkness swept them away, an unexpected thought surfaced. Had they truly fled one nightmare, or had they simply stumbled deeper into a far worse one? Where would their desperate fight lead them next? The oppressive darkness swirled around them, and with a final grasp, Sarah's heart raced as they were enveloped in silence. Just as it seemed they would vanish into the shadows forever, a sudden warmth enveloped her, breaking through the icy chill that had gripped their hearts. Sarah blinked. Light pierced the gloom, filling the void with a soft golden hue. She gasped as the shadows retreated, revealing a glimmering path lined with ethereal flowers. "Mia!" Illuminated by the gentle glow. There, before them, the light beckoned like a candle against the night. "Mama, is this real?" Jake whispered, his eyes wide with disbelief. "Stay close," Sarah urged, gripping both children's hands as she took a cautious step forward. The flowers hummed with a soothing melody, their colors vibrant, almost alive. Each petal shimmered, sparkling with unreal beauty. In that moment, the weight of dread began to lift. A flicker of hope ignited within her, urging her onward. "We can get out. I know we can." With each step down the path, memories of laughter and love washed over them. Baseball games, birthday parties, and cozy movie nights. These were the feelings that filled her with strength as they strode forward together. But as they approached a bright archway, doubt began to creep in. Is Mia still with us?" Jake hesitated, pulling gently on his mother's hand. "I'm right here," Mia chirped, her voice sounding genuine, almost playful. But something in her tone flickered, a ghost of that twisted darkness that had attempted to pull her under. Suddenly, as they neared the arch, Sarah sensed a shadow lurking at the edges of the light. It twisted, looking for a way in. "Stay back," she warned, instinct overpowering her fear. The shadow stretched, separating into shadows of lost souls, faces frozen in despair and longing. "You cannot escape. You have entered our world." Their voices echoed, distorting into the malicious laughter they had heard before. The air thickened, vibrating with ferocity, and for a moment, Sarah's resolve wavered. But in that whirlwind, she felt Jake's small hand clenching hers, anchoring her. Mia leaned forward, her eyes bright with an unearthly glow, as if something vast had awakened within her. "Mom, I know what to do," Mia declared, stepping slightly ahead of them, her small body illuminated like a candle in the dark. "No, come back," Sarah gasped, but Mia stood her ground, unafraid, unwavering. "You're not real. You can't have her," she shouted defiantly at the shadows, a power glowing within her. The shadows recoiled, retreating from Mia's determination, splitting as though she had cast a light upon them. "What do you offer?" they hissed, their anger palpable, yet edged with fear. "I offer love," Mia said, her voice echoing with strength. "I choose my family." In that instant, light exploded around them, washing away the darkness. Sarah felt warmth surge through her, an electric energy spreading from Mia to herself and then to Jake, creating a fierce bond. "Mama," Mia cried, and as the shadows shrank back in fear, Sarah reached out, pulling her close, a cocoon of love and unity. "Together," Sarah shouted, feeling the strength of their connection merging into a shield, repelling the shadows clawing at them. And then it happened. The shadows screamed as the warm light engulfed them completely, illuminating their surroundings until everything burst into a radiant blaze. Within that light, the weight of despair began to dissolve, the spirits breaking free into rays of shimmering brilliance. Moments later, as the energy subsided, Sarah opened her eyes to a serene expanse of golden fields stretching into the horizon. The air felt different, fresh and full of life, like a new beginning. She took a deep breath, steadying herself, scanning her surroundings. "Mia? Jake?" "Right here, Mama," Jake replied, racing into her arms, nearly knocking her over. Mia stood beside them, the brightness still cradling her. The shadowy weight that had once consumed them had vanished, and all that remained was laughter, echoes of joy that promised brighter days ahead. "Are we safe?" Jake asked, looking up into her eyes, a flicker of anxiety still lingering. "Yes, sweetheart, we're here, together," Sarah affirmed, wrapping her arms around her children tightly, a protective embrace against whatever lay ahead. As they stood together, surrounded by light and love, the past receded behind them, the burdens of that haunted night dissolving into the winds. With newfound strength, they looked forward, ready to face whatever awaited them beyond the fields of gold. In that moment, Sarah understood that love was the beacon guiding them home. It dutifully illuminated paths where shadows dared not tread. They had battled through nightmares and fear, but emerged victorious, a family united, forever poignant in their hearts. As they took their first steps into their new dawn, Sarah whispered, "Let's make new memories, starting now." A light breeze rustled through the grass, carrying with it the echoes of their laughter, the sound of hope rekindled. Now, as you return to the warmth of your home, remember the threads that bind us together. Share this journey, keep the light strong, and never hesitate to sever the chains of fear forged by shadows. Subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories. Smash the like button now to feed the algorithm with love and appreciation. Flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about the ending. And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. Only true fans understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions.